So yeah, like having been through the stage in my life where I had no money, like had no child support. I had a daughter with a disability who needed therapy, like needed help, and I didn't know what to do with her. And the feeling of when you know your child needs help and there's things out there that can help her, but you can't fucking afford them, and so you can't access it. So your child misses out because you don't have this fucking thing called money. Like, entirely pisses the fuck out of me, and that was the only reason I signed up to CAT. Like, all the other stuff I was like, yep, I like that, yep, you're a little bit arrogant and you love your money and fuck your Chanel handbag. If that's what turns you on, do it. But anyway, but when she said the stuff about the low end, like, I went, okay, all right, now you've got me, because that's what cuts me when I look at this world. And in my astrology, like, I'm destined to always stick up for the underdog. But having been in that position where you can't afford fucking therapy for your child that needs fucking therapy, and that's been this ongoing thing of these things waving in front of my face that could help me and my daughter, and then it's just like the goalposts just keep moving further and further back. Like, the autism funding package came in and she was 7 and it was only 0 to 6, and then they raised it to 7 and she just turned 8. It's just the pain, the fucking, just like, fuck, I need fucking help with my fucking child, like, and no one will fucking give it to you. And then now I find myself in Bali, in Asia, and this school where the teachers are there because they love the children, and the school will never turn away a family or a child, whether they're a fucking rice farmer or whether they're a fucking politician. They have a sliding scale for payment and stuff, and even if the parents can afford nothing at all, the child will not be turned away. But there is a waiting list, but it goes, it's like, it's a long waiting list because they do a lot of good work with these kids. And it was the first time I'd actually been able to go somewhere and people had actually, like, she'd been able to join in, and they actually gave me feedback about what I would need to do, with Freya. She could join the school there, she could come there, but we'd be on the waiting list as well. And I'm looking at the prices, and it's like $80 a month for 5 days a week therapy. It's between $80 and $120 a month, depending on how many days a week therapy you have. And I'm going, okay, if I'm in Australia right now, $120 will get me 1 hour therapy session. One hour therapy session. I'm here for $120. I can get 5 days a week therapy for my daughter for 1 month. And I'm like, okay. And I said, like, well, how much is it to actually hire another teacher? And she's like, oh, it's not about the money, because, like, I guess I feel bad coming into their country and taking a place away from a local kid. But I thought, well, and basically she said teachers' wages around $200 per month, or probably $250 or a bit more in Australian. And I just thought, fuck it, well, I could pay for another teacher to be employed, and that way Freya would get to the top of the waiting list sooner, and other kids could benefit as well. And that's the thing that I noticed with my daughter, is that she does better when she's part of a group, with other kids, like if I try to teach her stuff, like, forget it. But, you know, and she's a teenager, that's freaking normal. Like, she needs her peers, and like, yeah, so for me it just, I'm like, okay, and that's what I'm doing, that's what I'm working on, is setting up, well, and then, so basically, yeah, I've said to them, like, I'd be interested to help pay for a teacher to come and work at the school, and then but because the school's quite far away from where we are, where I live is like right in the locals area type thing, so it's like a place called Kerabakan, which is next to Canggu, near like just next to Denpasar, between Denpasar and Canggu, and there's one school, a special school that it's more like an academic school, whereas this school, they're classroom based, and then there's another school in Ubud, which is, they call it natural learning. So it's not based around trying to reach the same academic goals as what normal kids would. It's based around observing what the child enjoys doing, observing, like, looking at more what's their talent or what's their area of interest, and helping them develop that. It's from what I understand it to be at the moment. And so what I'm working towards right now is creating a place for community, a place where we can build a school that's going to help local kids in this type of natural learning, also with the therapies and stuff. So basically build a base there in the local economy, local environment, where then, like, as a foreigner, I can go with my daughter and spend, like, say 1 to 6 months there, looking at how to set it up, like a timeshare thing. So you might want to go there 1 month a year, you might want to go there 6 months a year, which is, any more than 6 months gets difficult in Bali. You can just go perpetual social visas, but yeah, I think 6 months a year would be nice, because I do, like, you know, I miss Australia, I miss, you know, my friends, and, you know, just not sure if I miss the culture, but yeah, I like Australia too, and I appreciate it more now. So yeah, it's around creating this community with the locals, and then, like I was saying, with the volunteer community, or what we call Ground Zero, which is basically people that they have, like for me, when I was a traveller or in my early 20s, you know, you just get sucked into that, you know, having to get a job, pay rent, you know, study or do whatever. Like, what I would have liked to see would have been this kind of thing, which is like woofing or volunteering, but you actually have a place in the community. You can do your 4 hours work a day, and then you have the opportunity to do paid hours after that. Like, if you want to get training and work with disabilities, like in disability care, that sort of thing, then that can be a paid role. I mean, it's not going to be at a Australian standard wage, but then when you're in Asia, like, okay, so if you've, like, this is the comparison that I made, is like, most people, if you live in Australia and you're working and you're renting a place, you're paying rent, paying rent, buying food, most people are flat out saving $50 a week, for me, like in a normal, you know, hospitality job, or, you know, what people do when they leave school. So if you can actually live somewhere where You've got food and accommodation provided. You're doing your 4 hours work plus, say, your other 4 hours, so you're doing 8 hours a day, and you're coming away with $120 a week in your pocket. That's pretty good. And plus, if you're living in Asia, like, everything's a tenth of the price. So even if you did want to go out and, or, you know, go on a tour or something like that, it's a much more affordable than in being in Australia. And you can save up enough to buy your plane ticket to your next destination or holiday, whatever. So, and then for local people there on that wage, that's a good, really good weekly wage, $120 a week. So I'll be looking at the same, well, between 100 and 120, just depends. Like, there's some little variables that'll come in, but around, yeah, I'll talk about that later. So we have this basically a local school, and then your local families that will live there also, and in more like the paid jobs, and I don't like the word maintenance, but maintenance roles also. There'll be permanent positions in some of the workshop things, the skilling stuff around natural building and bamboo. And then you have your volunteer community, so they could be local, they could be international. And then you have your families, like from overseas, that come in, and they're sort of like we call it like the bedrock. So they make a financial investment. They're the ones that help with they're the building blocks, as it were, of the financial capacity of the community to build itself in the initial part. So I call them bedrock, because everything's built on that. And then, as in the scheme of things, we evolve a community business and retreats. Like, as it becomes self-organising, we can run retreats there, which we can charge at more of a, as Kat says, high-end rate. So people that haven't been so fundamental in the organising or at that bedrock level, they can come in and either come to workshops that we run, like if we might have volunteers or ground zero people that are that can offer workshops, or visiting people that, like, we want to be able to sponsor people to come for like a working holiday to come and teach local carers and staff and teachers about how to work better with autism, because there's not really good education in Asia, and even Australia for that matter, about not that's affordable, about these sorts of things. So we just want to have skill development happening, and we just want to have ongoing workshops and activities and stuff going on that's like daily life. But in that daily life, like, people also get the opportunity to learn new stuff, just be part of a natural environment where people are doing their thing, and it's like a daily interaction, a natural life. And my daughter and me, we get to be a part of that. That's what I'm creating it for, but it's also going to help other people to experience that as well, like, and that's, I guess, what I'm about, and what I aim for, and what drives me and what motivates me is to be able to be in that environment with other people, creating stuff day to day where I don't have primary responsibility. It's like prayer becomes more of a shared responsibility, and where people are doing what they love from their heart. And like, because say for the artist, but also call it the artist community, volunteer community, artist community, they can do their 4 hours a day, and then the other 4 hours they can do their own art, they can do their own thing, they make their own workshop, and that they might be delivering in our community, in which case that'd be just a 50-50 profit share, or whatever is unique about each one and each situation, and yeah, or they can be working with people with disabilities in carer roles. So and then, like, you know, we have and then we have these visiting workshops as well. So people, like, we have Dr. Antonio coming in June. He's an Italian doctor, and he has a acronym for his style of therapy, which I don't remember right now, but he calls it like surf therapy. So surfing is a modality of his therapy, where it's about the kids getting over their fear, and also the parents does it too. Like the mum that I've talked to that's done this therapy with her son, she was quite scared of him because he's autistic, he could be violent, he lashed out at her a few times, so she actually had a fear of him. And through this surf therapy, and like getting on the wave, like riding the wave, it was like getting over her fear and reconnecting with him. And she said, you know, I got my son back, and you know, it's like, wow. Like, so yeah, this guy's coming in June to Bali, and that's what I want to focus on now, is like helping her get, you know, organising so that other parents, you know, I mean, my daughter doesn't have violent behaviours and that sort of stuff. Like, her balance is a bit off, so I don't know if this would be something that would really benefit her, like, because she's quite scared of heights, and, you know, like, yeah, I don't know how it'll go. I'm going to give it a go. And yeah, so I want to meet other parents, like organise it so I have the opportunity to meet other parents that that might be interested in living this, or becoming involved in this community, this kind of way of living, even if it's just 1 month a year, you know, like just to be able to have a break, have some support with your kid, like, and not have to go through all this fucking bureaucratic bullshit crap, blah blah, and for it to actually be affordable. Like, that's my main aim, is for it to be affordable to someone like me, who's a carer of their kid, who loves their kid, that, you know, is basically, we don't have the time for this. We survive on like a carer payment and government income, but, you know, if we had a bit more time, we might be able to develop ourselves a bit more and